Guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do Batgirls issue number 1 by DC Comics. Yes, this is an ongoing series. It's been been around for, I don't know, more than a year now or something. I got this series, I have 6 issues secondhand. I bought it secondhand because I'm not going to pay $5 for this. Are you crazy? Anyway, and of course the alternate covers. You know what I really dislike nowadays with modern comics is that they are. I'm used to having the covers of the artist on the cover. That's not what they do anymore. They are just modern. I mean, Marvel and DC is overflowing the market with alternate covers and different covers and special covers and whatnot covers. And then the art looks totally different, just like in here. I mean, I cannot imagine that this is the interior art. I knew that, of course, because I know what the art looks like. So without further ado, let's dive in. So what I'm going to do, I talk about the story. I give my points. I say that a little bit lightly. And then I give my thoughts at the end of the video. So guys, stick around. So we are here. I'm not going to read all of this. It's totally nonsense. So it seems this is the villain of the story, little girl somewhere in some kind of a basement with computers, and she is calling herself Seer. Okay. And then we have Barbara Gordon and Cassandra Cain and Stephanie Brown. Is that? Wait a minute. Let me... spoiler DC Comics. That's her name, spoiler. Stephanie Brown. Yes. Haha. Okay, cool. I just Googled it real quick. And they are moving into this neighborhood. The reason, going to tell you a little bit later. It's not really that important, but you know. Anyway, so they are here and more talking, and we're going to do the whole talking thing also a little bit later. And then Stephanie is she's positive Pete, if you can, if that's the right word for it. She says, "Oh my God, bunk beds, just like life's just got even better. Do you want the top of the bottom?" "I don't know," says Cassandra. And she says, "Oh, I take the top then, unless you want it." And then they're going outside because they are removing the van with their stuff. And there is this neighbor. He must be one of our new neighbors. Maybe I'm reading things incorrectly, but if you are moving into a new neighborhood, aren't you the new neighbor instead of this person that probably lives here his whole life? I'm not sure. This is also not important. And she wants to make contact up, and then she slams the door, and then humor. So yeah, this is some kind of a comedy action book, if you will. And then they unload the van, and she says, "Oh my God, our new neighborhood has an art gallery. How cool is that?" That is pretty cool. So they talk about that more, and they also say, "Oh, we don't have food in the fridge." That's a problem. And then we have more race swapping stuff, although not canon, but still. I mean, a little bit of a side note here. Escaping apocalypse, but escaping here, blah, blah, blah. So if you are escaping apocalypse, right, from dark sides, why would you then go to Earth and then don the same name as one of the most wanted men on Apocalypse, Mr. Miracle? And there's already a Mr. Miracle. Like there's already a Spider-Man, but now we have Miles Morales Spider-Man. It's just all bullshit. Some more race-swapping bullshit. Anyway, so Barbara noticed that Cassandra has something on her head, and she says, "Yeah, there were some bullies outside, some guys, and these guys said, 'Hey, new to the hill, time to pay to move in tax. Now hand over the goods, kid.'" And then she says, "Then I remembered what you said. Keep a low profile, keep a low profile, keep a low profile." So you through the fight. They suspect nothing. And so she said, "Hey, Stephanie," she says, "is there anything missing?" "Soap, towel, favorite robe." "All right." And she said, "I need a shower." So they go into the shower, and Stephanie says, "So is that box thing a TV?" More or less, we can risk a smart TV since we don't know the extent of Sears' reach. Coming back to this a little bit later too. Well, I don't think we're gonna worry about that. This thing is stupid as hell. So basically, so they have a very old school television that I also had when I was, 7 years old or something. And then they all say, "Hey, we don't have food much, so we're gonna eat cup of noodles." Coming back to that also as well. More so. Anyway, so and then we see Cassandra coming out with her favorite bathrobe that looks like something out of a Teletubby. And so Stephanie says, "Hey, that was quick. I thought you said your robe got taken. I found it." And then she looks outside and then see these robbers are being beaten up. And she's been seen by this Indian guy. So yeah, I'm very curious about this one because of Doc Monker's art. And Jeff Lemire is, although I'm not always a fan of his work, looks great. And so yeah, so they're lying in bed, and Stephanie says, "Hey Cass, I saw what you did to those dudes. I wanted my robe back. No one saw. That's the thing. I think maybe someone did. I put a bag on my head." And then she does this, and she says, "There's something you need to know. You're the coolest. Good night." Okay, now I have to say something. I am not all too familiar with Cassandra Cain and Stephanie Brown. What I do know is that these women fought in very hard battles, and I know something about their personality. For instance, Stephanie Brown is not as bubbly and positively and all cutesy as she is here. She has also dated Robin. Cassandra Cain is mostly the quiet one. She barely talks anything. But here she is very talkative. She's, always responding, which is weird. I come back to that also a little bit later. So, and then we have coffee break. Yeah. And then, so Bob says, "Hey, so they talk about the seer, because there seems that the seer is hunting them, so they're aware of that." And she says, "Hey, I give you walkie-talkies, but they are low tech, and they give also some burner phones for emergency only." And then she says, "Hey, you go out. I'm buying groceries. You set up my new encrypted grid." And then she says, "Hey, I got a big surprise for you." I love surprises. Also, what about food? Yes, because we don't have a modern, let me rephrase that. Modern comics is notorious for talking about food in comics all the time. I don't get that. Who wants to see all these people, talking about feelings and, sitting at a table, watching television about nonsense and eating food and all crap, when most comic buyers wants to see, cool storylines, nitty gritty action. I don't get it. Anyway, like I said, she's, "Oh, I love surprises. Yay." So, moving on. So, and she says, "Hey, Bat membership, it has its privileges." And then sad trombone. Oh, come on. Ta-da! So they give them scooters. Now, what I think, but I could be wrong. Okay, let me rephrase that again. Old school Batgirl fans or, comic fans knew in the beginning, before the original Crisis, Batgirl wrote a Bat scooter, which was 10 times as cool as this one. So, or this is a notch towards that, but since there is no hint about that too, I believe that the writers accidentally put this in here, not noticing that Barbara was actually, or Batgirl actually riding a scooter in her original, pre-crisis timeline. So yeah, because I'm 100% convinced that modern writers have no clue what came before, nor do they have any interest in that. and they do not respect the source materials, as you can see mostly here, because all of these characters, including Babs, is out of character. Okay, but then Cassandra says, hey, you remember those muggers? And she says, you didn't. I did. Suit up. More retconning. So they have a car, and she says, whoa, what should we call it? All great cars have names. And then we have a flashback of what happened before. So it seems that the clock tower has blown up, and it's been footage about that, and the Batgirls were blamed for that. And I don't know, people are looking for them or something, you know. I don't get it, but hey, taking something to drink. Sorry, guys, I have a very dry throat. And so as you can see here, Bruce, Bilbo, Bo, Boba, Bondo, hit the gas, let's see what this boat can do. Bondo, Bondo, Bondo. I'm exaggerating with my voice, of course, because this is how exactly how I read it. You know, these supposedly, I don't know, 20-something girls, maybe a little bit younger, maybe a little bit older, are acting like they are 14, 15 years old. I really don't get it. Okay, so they set up the whole equipment thing for Barbara, and they get a call through the walkie-talkie, said, hey, come home. And so they're going to do that, but then they see this whole art gallery stuff, the Tudor piece. He's got walls all over the city. The guy's brilliant. Sometimes he even live stream while he paints. And then she says, yeah, this stuff is perfect. Marriage of meta commentary, symbolism, and postmodernism pop art. Okay, guys, I have a question for you. Is this what you are looking for in modern comics? Is this what excites you? Is this what you think it's fun? All this talk about nonsense and ridicule things that has nothing to do with the whole storyline, but it's just put in there to, I don't know, wasting pages, aggravate the reader. What is the purpose of this sentence? It doesn't belong here at all. It doesn't. I mean, what do you care about this? Nobody cares about this. God. Anyway, so they see these goons again, and they are going down, and then so these goons, which are all white male, by the way, all the villains are white, and why am I saying that? Well, long time viewers of my channel know what I mean with that. I'm not going to get into it, but then they say, hey, aren't you, don't you have warrants on your, let's say there's a bounty on them and they want to collect it. And so they are attacking here, but they seem that the construction workers are acting weird. Speaking of weird, God. And then, so they attack here because, yeah, these very small teenagers, but I don't know, weight 55 kilograms, take down guys that double their weight. Totally believable. But Marinus, this is comics. I know. I'm just exaggerating. But, and then this is happening because, so they throw a boomerang or battering, ha ha ha. This is not how batarangs work, by the way. If you are hitting something, the momentum slows down insignificantly. This is only happening and working in cartoons and in Scooby-Doo movies. And this reminds me a lot of a whole Scooby-Doo episode, you know, how they behave, etc. And then, is this a cover? God, this looks so ugly. Look at this. Look at this. It's so ugly. Modern comics. So, okay, more action. Looks cool to a certain degree. And then, so they beat the bad guys, but then these zombie-fied construction workers attacking them, and you don't know what to do with them, and they say they use this gas so that they stay in one place, and they contacted Barbara, right? So, okay, so they go back, and then, so they sneak in, and Barbara is sitting here like an old mom, you know, waiting for the children while they're having a party night out or something. And then, so the Batgirls here explain the situation, and they say, hey, I know you're mad, Babs, but we saw something, muggers roughing up some road workers. Oh, I thought they were construction workers. Sorry. And they were like in some kind of a trance, but then Barbara dismissed that and says, hey, it's 3 a.m. Just give me a full report in the morning. Wait a minute. Coming back as well to this a little bit later. So, and then they are here on the bunkers and they talk about that. And they talk about, there's also, there's also on the news, there's a killer. I forgot to mention that because I just totally slipped my mind. Where is it? So there's a killer on the loose as well. So they talk about the killer and they think that's connected with all the things that's going on. So they suit up and then they look outside and, oh no, it's the neighbor. How a coincidinkies. He's stowing there a body. So he must be part of the whole thing that's going on, right? And yeah. So, and she says, oh, we have moved to the epicenter of the whole thing. Yeah. And then, so they say, Babs, oh, it's the grumpy neighbor. We saw him drag a human-sized garbage bag. And then, wait, slow down. Did you two go out again? We saw through the window. It looks very heavy. You're speculating. We can only act if we have evidence. Until then, I don't care how grumpy he is. He's our neighbor. But I love you both, but you're clearly delirious. Now, please go on, get some sleep. Okay, I have to say something about that. I told you that these characters are out of character, and I mean that. Barbara Gordon. Let's do a quick flashback. Barbara Gordon is the daughter of Jim Gordon. Commissioner Gordon, who is a policeman. Police detective. He's a commissioner. Also, she donned the costume of Batgirl. Well, I'd say that wrong. She became Batgirl. So, and she hung out with Batman. So, Gordon is a policeman. So she has the DNA of a policeman and everything that's, is involved with that particular job. She grew up with that. Batman is the best detective in the world, the greatest detective in the world. So, and she hanged out with him. She learned from him. So she has detective skills. And then she says here, nah, probably not. No, you're making this up. We don't have any evidence. Now go to bed. You are delirious. Now imagine if Batman and Commissioner Gordon comes in the crime scene. There's a dead body over there. And then we see the shadow of the penguin fleeing from through the window. And then they say, hey, who did this? Oh, well, this must be the bad coincidence. He was just on the wrong time at the wrong place. Nothing to see here. It's just a coincidence. Let's wrap it up and go home. Are you fucking kidding me? This is so out of character. Babs will never, ever say something like that. She would go as Oracle, right? Go behind her computer and find things out. Look for evidence. But she says, nah. Okay, I'm wrapping up. Okay, so these girls are not satisfied and then they want to prove themselves and they need to find evidence. So they go out here, well, you know what, because in this, back alley where the body is lying. And then, oh, well, I'm a little bit too quick. Then we see here some kind of a message. Sorry. Do you know where your Batgirls are? Okay, let's go back a little bit here because there's some continuity errors. Where is it? Okay. We can risk a smart TV since we don't know the extent of Sears' reach. But you have a full locked on computer open, and how does this work? You don't have a smart TV, but you have billions of exaggerating again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screens here with, I don't know, internet. And the Sears, hacking into your system, but a normal smart TV, yeah, no, that's a no-go because the seer may find you. What the fuck? Anyway, so they're going outside and she's sleeping. And then these guys are coming up. The saints have risen and the magistrate will never die. All right. And that leads us to the next issue. So it's been written by, of course, a woman, among other things, Becky Cloonan and Michael Ree Conrad. Now, why I'm just being, condescending when it comes to women writers? Because modern women writers are always inserting themselves and their own feelings and their own thought process, how comics should work, in in well, modern comics. And that's we have stories like this that makes no sense. Now you should probably expect to hear me say that I'm it flopped, that this comic is bad. Well, actually, not really. Okay, I'm not going to explain what I mean with that. So, what do I like? I'm not a big, let's say I like the art. It's cartoony, but it's pretty to look at. I'm not a big fan of the oversaturated colors, but it's not very hindrance because I see much more worse, right? The story, although I just ripped a lot of these, said a lot of bad things about this, it's actually entertaining. What I dislike is that modern writers, and I say it again, have no respect for what came before, for these characters. These characters are out of characters. Now, if this was just a new comic, and with new comic I mean new characters, it could have worked with these personalities. But since this is, spoiler, Batgirl, and Original and Oracle, they don't act like themselves. These are, like I said, Barbara act like, oh, well, no, we're not going to find out who this is. Oh, no, let's talk about tomorrow. That's not who Babs is. She's a detective as well, or she has detective skills. Stephanie Brown is not a bubbly, stupid teenager or acting like a teenager. And then we have a very talkative Cassandra Cain. It doesn't add up. Like I said, so this is a fun book, but it's not a good Batgirls book. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, guys, Jesus Christ, 22 minutes. I gotta stop now. Leave a comment below. Let me listen. If there is any of you, how do you say, have more knowledge about these two characters, tell me that am I wrong about these characters, or am I on point when it comes to personalities? Leave a comment, leave a like, please. And if you like what you see, subscribe to my channel and all the jazz. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.